See what Bob's up to. I'm trying the other orientation video. Ooh, look at that. That looks sort of interesting. Hey, Bob. You look kind of busy there. Sound busy?
Busy in a terrible kind of way. I hate this part of the job.
What's this part of the job?
You know, just imagine, I'm sorry, I got dust on you. Just imagine the day that early 1956, when Leo Fender opened the doors in the morning, and it was Monday morning, and they had their Monday morning meeting, and he told the guys, hey, listen, screw that swamp ash. We got a batch of alder in. We're going to make guitars out of alder. Imagine how happy they must have been. I mean, this shit.
Because swamp ash has a shitty open grain like oak.
Freaking nightmare to work with. It really is. I don't give a shit.
Unless you don't mind if you have all those indentations from your room.
Well, people do that now. Fano does that, and I just think that's ugly. Good for them. I mean, you know, furniture makers have always done that. Guitars are supposed to look like glass, you know, or close to it. And if you don't believe it, good. I mean, if you like it, all grain, good for you. I wish I could. It'd save a lot of aggravation. So the stage I'm at now is
Sanding out the grain filler.
I have shellac on this guitar, okay? Sanded shellac about 3 or 4 times. That's never going to fill these grains. I've done these before filling the grain like that, but it's 100 coats of sanding. And guess what? When the lacquer hits that shellac, if the shellac is the only thing pounding into those grains, it'll sink back in 6 months, okay? And it'll look like a 50s guitar. You'll have a slight... this stuff, you see, this stuff is sealed, this wood. I mean, this has filled these grains. But I got to sand it some more to get the hazy, ugly color that it leaves off. Stuff is very hard to buy now. Nobody makes it anymore. Companies still make an oil-based filler, and it's gray. It's freaking gray, the color of cement, because that's what it is. You're pounding ground up cement and rock, silica, into the grains with an oil base. And what happens is, the stuff I used to buy in the old days used to be like a mustard brown color.
I can see the places where you've gone down to the shellac. They look a little yellower.
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute. A mustard yellow color, sort of like this, okay. And there's one company that still makes it that color. And you can get it from them. They call it oak, but it's that color. So it's the same color that stuff used to be, and it used to say just natural. When it said natural, it was just light mustard wood color. But you only want this to stay in these dark grains. You want to get it off of the rest of everything because it looks horrible. Look at all the bird's eyes on this body. This body's
Scurry bird?
Yeah, this body's just beautiful. But you got to get that crap off of everything but the grains. Now there's another way to put it on where if you follow the instructions, which I don't because I've been doing this for a long time, and furniture, most of this stuff's made for furniture guys, okay? So when you read the instructions, it's for making furniture, right? So they tell you to wipe this in the grains, and it's very tricky because you got to wait till it hazes off just right. If you wait too long, when you squeegee it out with a credit card, you'll pull it out of the grains. If you do it too soon, you'll pull it out of the grains. And you got to do 2 or 3 coats over the course of a few days, and then you got to let this shit dry for at least a week because this stuff is nasty. It's very, very
Unforgiving?
yeah. You got to let it really dry good, and then what they want you to do is then polish it with the grain as soon as you've wiped it off, like 5 minutes later. Well, listen, I can tell you right now, that's going to pull 80% of it back out of the grains. It always does. That might be good for furniture type stuff, and you won't have to do the sanding, you see, because you'll have polished it off.
If you're going to lay a super heavy coat of horizontal polyurethane or something.
We're not talking about polyurethane.
I know, but I'm just saying
But so
that's probably what their advice is.
no, that's not for that. So if you're not going to do that, you're going to have to sand it, and then you guaranteeingly fill the grains. As you can see, I haven't done it on the back yet, but on the sides you can see all right here I've nipped through my shellac in a lot of places, right? Whoop-de-doo, who gives a shit, because the second I'm done with it, not the second, but when this thing is all clear, this hazy shit's gone. See, we're getting to the color of the wood here, but that's ugly right there. That's beautiful, that's ugly. As soon as this is all
As soon as the grain pops.
sanded off, I will then put a nice healthy coat of shellac back on this, and then I will sand that lightly, and that should be go time for lacquer at that point.
So you're ready to put your final finish on it?
Yeah, if it isn't, you got to do it again. I used to use this product my whole life, ever since I was 20 years old. Eddie Murray took me down to Chemlac when I first started working for him. And it was a place in Malden, Massachusetts that made some of the best old furniture lacquers around. I gotta get behind you and get a piece of sandpaper here. And those guys, they used to use shellac and lacquer, like I do pretty much in the old days. Nothing but. And then in the 70s, this product came out. It's basically a heavy-bodied sanding sealer, and it's got silica in it. I actually have some. I could show you how what I'm talking about. I found this the other day. I mean, I got gallons left, but I found this little bottle the other day. Let me show you something. It looks just like clear nitro, okay? See? But see all that shit on the bottom? That's that stuff that's in this filler, okay? Silica and soap, steroids. It's soap, so it sands smooth as silk. So that's what you get, a real ugly looking, that obscures your grains, okay?
Milky kind of
I've done 1,000 sunbursts with this and 1,000 all kinds of paint jobs. And it's what we all used. It's really good. It freaking works. I mean, it sands the guitar, fills every little tiny pocket, but legal now. You can't buy it, which is forcing me to go back to the old way of shellac and lacquer. Now, I don't want to get in a tone argument with anybody because I could give a shit about that whole thing about lacquer sounds so much better than urethane. Urethane. I already proved I don't like it because I called it urethane. But anyway, a poly finish. Ugh. Well, you know what? I have one guitar with a poly finish. It sounds really good. I mean, this is all plastic. This wood will never breathe again. The day you built this, when it was just wood, is the best sounding guitar it will ever be. Okay? Now, 50 to 100 years from now, if you put nitrocellulose on it without all those vinyl sealers and all that crap, and you don't really even get that kind of nitro anymore, it's full of plastic now. But if you use that stuff I used to use in the old days, with that stuff and then the lacquer on top of it, in 50 to 100 years, look at an old Martin, it's gone. It has dissipated. All the solvents have removed itself from it, and it's nothing left but an eggshell of shit. Guess what? The guitar sounds great now. It resonates. That guitar didn't sound good when it was new. It didn't sound good for years and years and years, or as good as that. Okay? Any finish you put on a guitar is going to hurt the tone of that guitar. That's that, okay?
So you're better off with no finish whatsoever?
Yeah, if you could stand that, or a very light...
what about just an oil finish?
Yeah, a very light gunstock oil finish. It's funny how you read my mind, because that's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, didn't you say you did that with the
I used to do that all the time.
lace
Yes,
top,
Michelle, yes, with my beautiful non-Stratocaster guitars. Okay, so, if you could stand that, I would never build an acoustic guitar and put nitro on it. Nitro's garbage on this. It's a Stratocaster. It's the greatest guitar you'll ever play, especially mine. You want it to sort of look like one. You don't want to. You want to be able to spill a drink on it. Okay. You want to be able to take it to a bar and play. So.
Want to be able to beat it with a chain.
Yeah, well, I'm not beating nothing with a chain, but so it's good.
But you could relic it and make it look like somebody like beat it with a chain.
But there's all this talk of it doesn't breathe like lacquer does. Poly doesn't breathe. Okay,
Nothing
okay,
breathes.
let me tell you something. Poly sucks. I can't stand it. It's made for that. If you put it on a car or a motorcycle, okay. Does it? Am I going to stand here and tell you that the nitrocellulose guitar sounds better? Yeah, I think it does, but not by enough to make that an issue. Okay, getting to that shellac now, so I get all these problems there. I don't think it's enough to make the tone an issue. Okay, the reason why I use nothing but shellac and my silicas are in this grain filler and nitrocellulose lacquer is because I like the look of it. I don't care what anybody says. None of that other stuff looks like this. This stuff looks warm and the colors glow, especially if you, when you see this after I get a nice coat of shellac back on it, you'll see how nice it really is.
Well, all your guitars look like brand new guitars.
Well, I don't beat them with a wick and chain and
But they look brand new.
Relic-y thing. It's like, I need a pair of shoes. So you go to the shoe store and you say to the guy,
Walk through mud
fuck, I don't
and
like those.
scuff
Do you
them up.
have any that are all like scuffed up and shit? Like really scuffed up shoes, man? Because that's cool. And that, I mean, come on,
Walk
man.
through
I mean,
mud and scrape them on some rocks.
It's really the stupidest thing I've ever seen. The relicking thing.
Bob
it
hates
makes me
relic
sick.
guitars.
It makes me sick that somebody can't
Take care
make
of
something old themselves, you know. I've been around a long time. I've seen guys buy vintage guitars and they love those guitars, and then when they take those guitars, when I was 20 years old and they get that one Strat, there ain't a nick on that guitar now that wasn't there when they bought it. You know, I mean,
They take care of them.
And that guitar wasn't a mess from somebody playing it. It was a mess because it was left in a basement and the kid's mother was dragging shit around on top of it and dragging it around. That's why it's a mess. Not because somebody played it, you know. No matter how you cut it, it
takes a long time to sand a guitar like that.
Yeah, but now listen, if you're gonna paint a guitar in poly, okay, none of this is it's like a 2-minute job. You're done with the paint job in a day. All this sealing and sanding and sealing and sanding. No, it's treated like painting a car. I would never fault anybody for doing it, especially if you're trying to make some money making guitars, which I'm not, but if you were, this shit ain't the way.
It's not the way to get paid, huh?
No way. No way. Not this way.
Well, some people buy their furniture at the
Now,
Target,
those grains
and
look
some
great
people
because
buy
that
it at
stuff's in those
the
grains.
Ethan
You see,
Allen.
Michelle? Those grains look a little gray, even though that stuff is going back to its roots because it's dyed, but gray is gray. It's still there, okay? But it will not, when the shellac hits it, it will brown it right up. and bring
It'll
it
flick
right
up the
back.
color of the shellac and be fine.
Yeah. And someone's going to say, oh, he's sanding that, because I would say, if he's sanding that with his hand now, that's uneven. Yeah, well, this is 400. This ain't going to make anything uneven. I'm just catching any clumps from the shellac clumping.
All right, well, we're at 14 minutes and 28 seconds.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be at 3 hours, so if somebody wants to learn
Well,
how
I'm
to...
going to make a 3-hour video.
No, I'm just being an asshole. I'm saying if somebody wants to learn how to paint a
Bob's
guitar...
from Boston. They do that a lot.
From Boston. In lacquer, you know, never mind the 15 minutes listening to my bullshit. Go and try this for yourself and see how long it really takes, you know. See those bodies over there? Those bodies over there all have to be done too. They have They have that filler on them.
They look pretty darn good with just a filler on them, actually.
Well, it's murky, see? I mean, those things look beautiful with just shellac. And they will one day again, like this one. When this one is ready for the shellac, it'll come back alive. Now, Wood Coat is the name of the only company left that I have been able to find. Because you say, oh, well, just dye the shit yourself. This is kind of an important part, Michelle.
Everybody can hear you.
Okay,
I was just
well, I'm not
making. I was just doing a little eye candy on those other bodies.
So what I'm saying is, you can dye this stuff any color you want, all right? But if you've ever worked with it, you're going to figure out when you pop that can open and you put, oh, I threw it all away. Well, this is the color of it on this rag, see? That's the color of it, okay? That's a perfect color to fill these grains. But when you sand that, it's going to come back a little gray, as you're seeing, because it starts gray. Problem with dyeing it is it needs to be an exact consistency, and you keep mixing mineral spirits with it to get it the right consistency. Oh, look, those grains are full. That thing's going to take a coat of shellac, sand it with 800, and then whammo with the lacquer. It's time, you know. It's the first one of these ash bodies I've finally seen full, and there it is. Okay, so that stuff that I'm talking about, the brand I'm talking about is Wood Coat.
Trying to get that up on that. Little
I can't tell you where to get it from. I had to battle a little bit online to get it myself. Now watch how murky. Ready? Look. See? This is a beautiful one-piece body. They all are. But this is Dirty Bird. I call it Dirty Bird because it's very dirty. It looks like it was dropped in the dirt. It's got these dirty black lines all over it, you know.
Dirty Bird is the most beautiful
But look
one.
at the bird's eyes it's got. I mean, if you saw that wet, it would freak you out. Look at them. They're everywhere.
They'll see it wet at one point.
Look at them. Look at them. All up in here and everything, you know. They're just beautiful. But
she's my favorite.
My point is, so you take the stuff, you open the can, you get some out. Oh, it's a good consistency. Oh, great. I'm not even going to have to put some mineral spirits in it, okay? So you take an old sock or something, you start rubbing it into the grains, right? You get over to here, and all of a sudden, that might be ready for the credit card. And I got to put this shit down. You got to come over here with the credit card, right? And you got to move around on the whole body like that. You don't have time to take this much of that stuff out, a little glob of it, and dye it. You can't dye the whole can. Good luck to you dyeing the whole can. So, and every time you take a little more out, you got to dye it? No. The shit they used to sell that was this color, and they called it natural. That was the shit. And Wood Coat has it, but they don't call it natural. They call it oak. Okay, and it's been a godsend for me to finally find it because I hate dye. I've dyed this stuff a bazillion times. I've dyed it all different colors, doing all kinds of fancy finishes, but I don't like dyeing it.
That's the color.
On Swamp Ash, I just want it that color right there. And Wood Coat sells it in that color. And they call it, again, oak. And that's the garage report for today. I'm going to sand the top of this, and I'm done on my Sunday. Just get this one guitar sanded out. Peace out. I should be writing that, but it's raining.
Or this.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.